He's talking about a doctor contacting him at 8:30 in the at
Yeah,
night.
like right. That's weird.
That is a weird time.
Even
That's
if
a
they
Is it a
very
are,
odd
dude?
time.
no, it's a lady.
Is it a dude?
It's a lady.
Ooh.
But the idea of anybody conducting business at 8:45, 8:35 Eastern Standard
Yeah.
Time and is like odd. No, she just texted me like, "How's it going with my this?" Because she gave me these things today, and I'm like, "I'm not gonna. These are not business hours for me.
Yeah, exactly. Be
I'm
like, this
not
is
ready
not
to
the hours where I
answer
want a person.
that question." How
Yeah, I
odd.
will answer that
I
question
don't
at
know,
9
man.
a.m. tomorrow.
I'm a comic. That's like
You're
Well,
I
not an
sometimes
audiologist.
I s- yeah, but I sometimes again you said any business. You said isn't that I'm like I don't know
mm,
about any business, but I sometimes forget when I text people like at 10 o'clock at night. I sometimes forget. Oh shit, it's 10 o'clock at night. Like my business is
yeah,
not done doing text because I'm a independent contractor. So you know what I mean. I don't have
Right.
that like, but there are times where I have to consciously stop myself from sending an email even at 8 o'clock in the morning because they're in LA and I'm like, oh, it's real early in LA right now. They should
I
probably just hold
I
on.
I don't take see I don't take emails as bad because I'm just like, oh, like I see an email kind of like a mailbox, like you just left it in there for me to find
email is so
whenever it
much
was
more
convenient for
polite
you.
than people remember. Like, email is the preferable mode of like polite conversations. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to
email
start
is the one where
anything
you
with
don't care if it gets answered. Email is the one where
yeah.
you don't care if it gets
I
answered.
disagree. I
No,
think we've pivoted to where an
yeah,
email is a lot less intrusive. You know how people are afraid to answer a fucking phone call, and then Apple makes FaceTime, and now you have to deal with like visibly having a conversation. Text
yeah.
messages, people are like, they get a text message and they're like, "Bah!" And I'm like, why didn't you just send an email? It's the same address.
Okay,
Like,
so this was a conversation that I was Paul was having on the radio earlier this week. He was having a
Hmm.
conversation where he believes that it's he doesn't he's so his co-hosts are way younger than him because
yes,
he's 1,000
it's an age thing for
and
sure.
his co-hosts yeah and his co-hosts seem to believe that you in order to you can't just cold call somebody anymore. Like you
Yeah, check
have
if they're
to
free.
pre-efforts you have to pre-efforts that with a text like, hey, are you available, are you alright, whatever, can I call you? And he's like, no, you call just to check up on people, or you call for whatever reason, but you still call. If they're your friend, you call. You don't have to text first. And I was like, hell no, you gotta text first. There's gotta be
Yeah, I got
a
shit going
preemptive
on.
like, yeah, you can't just call me. I'm just gonna now it's gonna make me feel bad because I'm sending you the fucking voicemail. Now I gotta be the asshole.
I
Look, there are
struggle
So
with
very
that.
few. There's very few. Sorry,
No,
Mike. What
you
were you
go.
saying?
No, you're the one in
No, I was saying
Australia.
there's
You go.
very few people. There's very few people in the world that like if they call me out of nowhere, it's actually like a oh rather than a ah like like it's just being able to actually be like I will drop anything and chat to this person. Yes, very few people.
well,
I
Everyone
will
else in the
say
world,
I
it's kind of like I need to figure
just
shit out. Hold on.
my
to the
difference is
listener to the listener, just make sure just so that you understand, I am not one of those very few people.
That is
Because
not true. You
I
also
have
have also
yet
called
to.
me while I'm
You don't
sleeping.
pick up the phone. You don't pick up the phone.
While
I'll
I'm
call you. You know.
sleeping.
You know who does pick up the phone? Dave. Dave, your husband
David's
picks up
very
the
good at
phone.
picking. He's
He's
very
like,
good at picking up the phone.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to get a hold of Stephanie. And he's like, yeah, mate, she's over here. It's fine. Like, like it's like, okay, thanks, man. Yeah,
my
he's great.
favorite
That
part
is
about
not
that
true.
conversation is that you literally just talked about having businesses at weird times, and then you're like, you never call, and it's like, yeah, because it's a weird time to call someone over here. You're
Yeah,
calling at
because usually I'm
like
sleeping.
3:58 in the morning. I will say that
I'm
it
actually
makes
pretty good. I'm actually pretty good at knowing Australian time. Like whenever I
I
send
think
a
I
text or
think you just
something,
forget. I think you tend to forget what days I'm in the office and what days I'm not because our schedules like
oh
because
yeah,
I'm
that
like in the
well
opposite
that
day.
I don't I don't care whether you're in the office or not, but I do know what time it is. So like if I send a text at 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon Miami time, I know there's no way Stephanie's that's 7 o'clock in the morning in Australia time. That's no way she's gonna just she's not gonna read it for a couple hours. It's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if it's early even if it's especially if it's prime time for us in Miami Eastern Standard Time, I have
Mhm.
many times Mike and I will be in a conversation back and forth at 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I know I'm like, no, Stephanie, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. She's not
No.
gonna read. It's fine.
I will chime in with a comment at the very end of the conversation later.
Yes. At 9 o'clock, she'll be like, "Yes, I agree too." And then by that time, Mike and I are
We're
like,
like,
"What the
what were
fuck
we
is she
talking
talking
about?
about?"
Yeah. Oh, by the way, 5 minutes and 40 seconds in. Welcome to WuBro.
Oh yeah, play.
Hello,
Hello?
hello, what's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With nary signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, Uni Mayor Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
Oh, no,
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
and Mike Mercadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Oh, I was jamming out.
It's like Saturday night, man. You gotta give them the cold open, and then you give them the intro, man. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. I am Nary Signs. With me as usual is Mike Power Fist Mercadal.
What's up, bro?
And Steph Mayor Senior is
There you go.
and
Balls.
we actually have 4 people on the podcast today. There's 4.
Oh yes,
Oh,
there are 4
that's
people
right.
on
There's-
the podcast today because I have just gotten
There's
announced.
4 people.
We are actually, you can see it a little bit now.
I will. I was
We
going to bring
are
in my adopted child that I got from a subway station, and oh no! Oh, you too? Great, amazing! Congratulations!
Steph,
I guess you'll go back.
Mayor Senior
Go back.
is expecting.
I don't need you.
You're expecting a girl? Is that what you found out? You
Yes.
found out the gender already?
That's good. You
found
got
out
Yes, we
the
did.
gender.
one of each, or potentially all.
Yeah,
Any.
we don't know. But
We don't know.
starting
Yeah, well,
starting formula is
you
one
got-
of each.
you got-
We'll see what it ends up with.
Now you got 2. Now you got 2
Mhm.
of 27. I don't know what the options are anymore. I don't know how many options there are,
Two,
but there's
two
a lot
of
of
two.
options.
2 of 2. 2 of 2.
Oh no,
Oh, no,
he's
'cause,
talking
you know,
about
there's-
gender.
I'm talking about gender.
Oh,
I'm talking about
gender.
gender.
No.
Yeah, there's
You
you have the boy, the
2
girl,
of
then
TBD.
Mhm.
right.
I don't know, man. I very much have always been very cognizant of like. I know Kami barely understands what I'm saying right now, but like even when I talk about his future partner, I still say partner. I still your future person, your
Interesting.
future partner, future da 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 da. Like just kind of automatically like say it. Like I'm actually in this place where it weirds me out when people imply like immediately like him having a wife or having all this stuff because I'm like I don't fucking know. I don't know yet. I don't know who he's
Oh,
gonna be.
you're gonna have
like,
a
he's
little
still 2 years old.
boyfriend or a little girlfriend. Like they immediately like don't
Yeah, I don't
sexualize
fucking know.
children,
Exactly.
and immediately they're like, "Are you 2
Immediately.
gonna grow up and fuck each other?" It's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, immediately, like just like the amount of times I've heard people be like, "Oh, curls get the girls" because it was curly hair, and I'm like,
Oh, he's a
I-
ladies'
I
man.
guess. Yeah, and like things like that. I'm like, he's 2.
You want to hear
He
how
doesn't
weird
even
it is?
realize what girls are.
I remember being told as a child that the ladies were gonna love me because I had long eyelashes. If you ever want to question how weird heteronormative standards are of like there has to be some reason like
Yeah.
we have to figure out a way to make you straight and say it out loud. It's like
Yeah.
it's like because of my long eyelashes.
Yeah,
I love the fact that to this day, Mike, as you're telling the story, you don't see Like as I heard that story, I was like, they couldn't find any other feature to compliment you. Like they
Well, the
literally
reason I
looked
bring
at
that
you as
one
a
up,
child. They
yeah.
were literally looking at you as
It's
a
just
child, and they're like,
random.
"Fuck, I don't know, eyelashes. Give
Nah, man.
give him eyelashes. I don't know, bro."
Wait till you see me as a kid. I was adorable. I was fucking Bambi lashes. But I will say, years later, the reason I bring that up is that years later in high school, those same eyelashes were the reason I was called an F slur by
Really?
yeah. They would say that my oh this look at this guy with his F slurry eyelashes, and I'd be like,
Bro,
what?
they used to call
Slurry. Holy
anything.
shit!
They would put
It
attach
just took me
slurs to
now. It took
absolutely
me.
anything back
It
in the
took
day.
me. It took you saying it as an action to be like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" I couldn't understand.
What the
You
F
could have
slur
just
is?
said F slur. Like it threw because I was waiting. I'm like F slur, F slur. Like, I'm like trying to fucking
Were you like going
use
through the
context
process?
clues. I'm like trying to use context clues. I'm like F slur. What the fuck is an F slur? I'm trying to do that, and I'm thinking of F slur as a word, as opposed to the
F
F
slur,
dash.
like
And I'm
EFS.
just like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then
Yeah,
when you
no.
put it as an action, I was like, oh,
Yeah, I'm very good at
this
not
guy's a
using words that would be
Yeah.
offensive. Right? Like it's
Yeah.
not hard. It's not hard to do that. Also, and very clearly
yeah, but
there is already
you
an
can
F
also
word.
Mhm.
yeah, you can also substitute that in the story that you're telling. Oh, they called me gay or whatever. They will insinuate I'm homosexual. You could say that without saying the phrase F slur,
No,
because
but I
that's
want you to think
ridiculous.
it in your head to make you the homophobe.
Right.
No.
Uno
But it is
reverse.
it's the word. No, like but that's the thing is that like I'm not gonna say the word, but that it wasn't no,
No.
it was straight up said that word as for the same thing that I was told would make me a ladies' man. And I was like, this is confusing. This is just straight up
Yeah. The rules are
it just
constantly
does not make
changing.
sense. Does not make sense.
You know what's
I get
confusing
that.
is the fact that it's in Spanish in an earth slur in Spanish are delicious
You-
plantain chips, and I don't understand why that
Oh,
company, because that's a brand name, and I don't understand why that company hasn't changed their
I had to
fucking
go
name
through
in
all
30
these
plus
mental
years.
jumps.
I don't know it as that word because
But that's a brand. That's a brand.
the
That's not
people
me
no,
making this
the
shit
people
up.
that
It's
the
not like
slur
a name for it.
I'm talking about the slur. The slur, I know it in Spanish is let's just say more more direct and not light and small. You know what I mean? It's not the name of the chip. It's straight up like
It's with a cone. It's with
it's
a
with a
cone.
cone. It's with a cone. Yeah.
Not Ito.
Not not Ita.
It's not Ita. It's
It's
with a cone
cone.
at the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's with a waffle cone.
This is the dumbest fucking conversation. This is the one conversation you can't have while being politically correct. We're literally making fucking fun of people who were not politically correct, but us being so politically correct is making this conversation impossible to understand. Like, what the fuck are you talking
the
about?
thing is, you
Like,
also have to be
we
fluent in
can't.
2 languages to get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the
You have to
problem is
be. You have to
also
be fluent in two. You have to be. You have to be woke in 2 languages. So it's a whole fucking thing now. Well,
yeah,
it's
I
like,
Multiple,
what this
struggle
yeah.
with
conversation.
the Latine, Latinx, Latine, Latino, Latina,
Oh
whatever, all of that.
yeah.
And I saw someone slash all the words Latin X slash Latine slash Latin Latina Latino, all 4. So it's
Oh.
like I saw someone say that.
I usually only see the Latinx/Latina because
Right.
they're like whichever one you use
And to a certain extent,
amongst
because
those.
like my globalism has blossomed in the last few years, I'm like, what an American fucking thing to describe a non-American group of people, Latin American people, right? Like, what a
But
fucking
the language
American
the
viewpoint.
language comes the language already comes built in with gender specific things. It's a
Yeah.
CIA. It's not a
Yeah.
CX.
Yeah, and it's a
not.
colonial
It's
language
a.
from the countries that are not geographically, they didn't originate in that country geographically. So like
Yeah.
the indigenous languages are viewed negatively too. So it's like,
Yeah.
do you use the colonialist language? It's like there's so many layers to it that it's like, oh, let me gauge like the room before, like if I'm going to make a broad statement, I would say Latin American people as opposed to
Really?
Latine, Latinx, Latina, like all four, like
See,
all
I
four.
just tend to I out of habit will always just say Latinos unless I know someone specifically
As
like
is
identifies
99,
as gender
like
neutral.
80% of the
Just be,
of the population would not give a shit.
because realistically we were already raised with this language. We were colonized and everything like that, but we
But
still
it's
have to
part of the
have an
language.
attachment.
But it's
A
part of the
Yes,
colonizer
language
yes,
language,
already.
that's
You
what
know
I'm
what I'm
saying.
it
saying?
is part. Look, it is part of the colonizer language. Yes, like it is part of the language that we were colonized by. I get it, 100%. But at this point, like it's also one of the only ways we can like connect and talk to extended family. So like,
Again, I'm not saying, I'm just
you know,
pointing
it's one
out
of those
that
things where
there is
like,
a bigger picture. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like it like broadens out. So if you are going to make a generalized statement about a group of people and you want to be gender inclusive, America is all of the massive land that is North and South America. That's why it's divided up into North and South. So the people who just say America when they're talking about this country, technically incorrect, which is the best kind of incorrect that I can point out to you. Then, so if you say Latin America, which is the American English term
yeah,
for the countries of Latin America and the people who inhabit them, you're not making a generalization about their gender in any way. Like, why do the X, A, O, whatever?
See, I always saw the EX wasn't something tacked on to Latin, but a replacement for the O or A. Like that's
No,
what
it
I
is.
always
But
saw
what
it
I'm saying,
as.
I'm talking about
Like
tacked on the additional words. Like if you say Latine,
to me to Latinx doesn't make sense because you can only pronounce it in English, which is contrary to
exactly.
the language they were actually talking about. Latine, at least you can pronounce it the way like in as a Spanish word.
Why not the U? Why not Latinu? Why did they land on the E? Who made these decisions?
Maybe
Who?
just sounds slightly less silly. I don't know.
Yeah, Latin, because A and O were accounted for.
Yeah, because I guess because like maybe the E at the end is
You know what it
does
is?
have maybe more of an attachment to a Latin root, like probably made some sort of sense out of it like that. Like for me, it's just one of those things where like it's hard because like how if you are a gender non-conforming person, how do you identify as Latino or Latina? Like that is the words that are built in. Like I get that there's like I want another option
I want to go
because I
with.
am
I think
this,
I'm
but
going to
I'm
go
still
with.
this.
From now on, I'm going to go with Latini because it also makes it sound really small, like a very tiny. Like we're Latinis.
We sound like Oompa Loompas.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Now I just made a sizist
Yeah.
joke
Well,
or whatever you call it.
but here's the
Yeah,
thing.
see?
Here's the thing. So we're getting
Latini. That
like
sounds great.
like
It also sounds like the
we're getting
Jawas from
so
Star Wars.
Latini.
we're getting so specific. We're getting so specific with everything, and it's like, well, if we're gonna play that situation, I don't want to say that game, but if we're gonna play that situation, then are we gonna start? Are we gonna be one of those people that we're gonna start correcting Hispanic people when they call themselves Latinos and like, no, you're not Latino, you're Cuban. Cubans are not Latinos, they're Hispanic. So are we gonna be that now? Are we gonna be that? Like,
I feel like it's one of those things where I feel like no
whoa, you said you're Latino.
I feel like no
You said you're
outsider.
Latino.
I feel
Where
like
you
no.
from, bro?
Yeah, I
Where
feel
you
like no
from?
outsider should have the
That
right
ain't Latin
to like
America, bro.
do that. Yeah, I feel like no outsider should have the right to like force an identity on people. Like if that's how you identify, that's how you identify. Because like, yeah, honestly, it's one of those things where like it is weird that the Americans, with the way they see everything, kind of try to push their viewpoint on every other culture in the name of being sensitive to that culture. And you're like, okay, but maybe listen to the people in the culture more, and it's a longer conversation. It's a more nuanced conversation.
There's an
It's
irony
not just
here.
a full stop.
Yeah, there's an irony here in the fact that all three of us were raised in Miami, pretty much, except you
But
did
we
a lot
live
of.
that dual. We live that dual life.
No. But what I was going to say is that under I'm the only one that's Cuban, and under the dominant, like the when you start to get real granular with it, this under the like I was of the dominant Latin American group or Hispanic group in Miami, and all of you like the Nicas and the Colombians are all a smaller portion. Like if you want to go by numbers, just pure numbers. So the Miami culture that you guys were brought up in wasn't yours. It was like this
No,
weird
100% not.
bastardized
No.
Cuban culture, a Cuban exile
Oh,
culture. It's not even
100%.
really Cuban. And it's like,
Yeah.
I grew up in Sweetwater.
No, there is. No, true that.
I grew up in
yeah, you
Sweetwater.
grew up in a
So,
bubble
True that.
of
True that.
Nika.
True that. True that.
Yeah.
No,
I grew
but
up
like
in a
even
bubble
I grew
within a
up
bubble.
certain
Like,
areas of West
my
Kendall and
bubble was
Doral are South
inside a
Colombian.
small. I had a smaller bubble that I lived in within a bubble. I was like, y'all bubble is over there. So I did
Your
not grow
bubble's
up
all
in
the
that
way down.
Cubanized. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I did not grow
I
up in
get
that
that.
Cubanized
But you were also
situation.
Nika
Yeah.
as fuck
No, but
because your
I
parents
get.
owned a fritanga, no?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
like the
I mean,
that's like the
Yeah.
King Nika.
that'll do it.
That's like the
That'll
that's like
do it.
Nika royalty in Miami anyway. Like if you're view
Yeah.
like you do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
bit now. The people when they tell you where you're from, people just talk about food to you because that's like
Yeah.
the Cuban extent of culture is just other countries' foods. Like it's not even
Well, I
like
mean,
their
like I
actual
was.
like
And that's if I'm lucky enough that whoever I tell that I'm from Nicaragua, if they know what that
Didn't even
means.
know what Nicaragua
Because
is.
for the most part, they don't know what Nicaraguans is. They don't know what Nicaragua is. They
Mhm.
have no idea what that is. They go, what? What's that? And then a lot of times I can see it when they try to get, where you from? And they give me every nationality except Nicaragua. And then I say no to all
Yeah,
of
like
it.
surrounding.
And then I'll say,
Like.
yeah. And then I'll say, and then they go, okay, where? And I'll say Nicaragua. And they'll go, oh, and they'll do that because I know that they don't know where the fuck that is, but they're like, and they're totally to give you an old school WuBro reference, they're totally true romancing the Nicaragua part. They go, oh,
yes.
and they're just like, okay, right,
Right.
yes, and they try to play it off
I
as if they know
acknowledge
where
that
the
I
fuck
heard
Nicaragua
what
is, but
you
I
said.
know. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, no, you didn't get it. You didn't get it. It's fine.
Up here, it's a little different in the fact of like white Latino, whatever country, who they don't differentiate. Like whatever white Latino is, they always look at you as like, what are you? And I remember one time, like whenever I used to have a bit about where like people tell like, no, I'm Cuban, and people were like, right, yes, and it's like because nobody knows what Cubans are supposed to look like. Like nobody knows what white Latinos how to like label us unless you're screaming or wearing a Dominican flag or Puerto
mean
Rican
white
flag, which is
Hispanics.
entirely
You
possible.
mean white Hispanics? You mean
Yeah,
white
what-
Hispanics? Right?
I apologize, white Latin Americans, white people who of Latin American descent.
No, but you're not Latin American descent. You're Cuban, so you're white Hispanic descent.
So Cuba's technically Latin
America
America. Hold on, I have to Google this.
No,
Is
no,
Cuba?
it's not. No, it's not.
Is Cuba
Nope,
is
it's in
Cuba
the
part of the
Caribbean.
Caribbean?
It's
I
not.
feel like it's part of the Caribbean, isn't it?
It is absolutely part of the
Caribbean.
Caribbean.
I don't know.
That's
I
why
honestly
it's not
don't
part of
know.
So you're
It
telling
is
me
not part
the
of Latin America.
Dominicans, Puerto Ricans?
I've always
and-
seen
not-
them as
they're not
Latinos too.
Latin.
Like I've always seen them as
They're
like.
not. Yeah, but they're not. They're not.
Look, I think
Actually,
Latin
it
is
is.
anything
Okay.
yes.
part of Latin America,
According to
Yeah.
Wikipedia,
which is of course the law.
what? Give me
But
a
I mean-
higher authority. Give me a higher authority.
His own opinion.
Oh,
the cat-
boom. Hold on. Oh, come on. How do I zoom?
Basically,
Yeah.
basically, they're describing Latin America as any place that was colonized by the Spaniards at some point.
Basically, I mean, yeah. You see, it's
Yeah.
it's
Like,
accounted
literally-
for. And what is
Which,
this?
yeah, which would
What
mean
country
which
is
would make
this?
Jamaicans Latinos apparently.
No, this is Jamaica.
Yeah,
It's gray. What is this
what-
country
It's
here?
gray.
What is this country that's gray?
Oh,
I'm
that's
curious.
Belize. The gray country is Belize. That gray country is Belize, and then
Were they colonized
what
by
else?
the French?
And then
I forget.
I don't know, but they speak English. It's the only English-speaking country in Central America, and so Jamaica. So you're telling me that Haiti is Latin?
Haiti counts. Haiti counts as Latin America.
So if you're Haitian, you're Latin.
You're Latin
Wikipedia
American, but
is
you're not
incorrect on this
Hispanic.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's weird.
I think it's the other way. It's the other way around. You're
I think at that
Hispanic
point it's
because
probably
you were
how.
ruled by-
like,
Yeah, it's the other way around. The Caribbean is not part
I
of
think they're
Latin
just
America.
talking. I think nowadays you just kind of describe it by like the body, because the thing is, like, I noticed that Brazil is highlighted, and like Brazilians. usually
Brazil
don't.
is Latin America, but is because it
Yeah.
is a Latin root. So does French.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what it is. English does not, and I think some of the countries that are not other countries that are not highlighted are British,
Mhm.
like Guyana and things like that have like English as their language.
Yeah.
So does Jamaica, so they are not Latin. Fuck. We got there, guys. We did it. We came. We got full. We asked questions and answered them.
You had to go much deeper. It wasn't just Spain. It was Latin root countries.
Yeah, Cuba is definitely in the list of Latin America.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, you can specify that the Caribbean Hispanics are, like, Caribbean Hispanic countries are also a subgroup because of, like, the island nature of their, like, economy and all that stuff. Like, it just, like, breeds, like, a different evolution in
Honestly,
business
it's just
and
odd because
country
so much
and
of all
government.
it's just odd because so much of all of our histories is just by like, hey, who conquered us at different times? How did we all mix together?
It's a nightmare.
When did British bring humans through? And then, you know, half my ancestors hate my other ancestors because, you know.
But I love the fact that within the Hispanic community, we still have the fucking audacity to say that this group is better than that group. It's like, but we were all colonized.
Yeah.
We were all, like, this is so stupid. Like, we're not as bad. We're not as bad as that group that was captured. We're a different group that was captured and colonized.
Right,
like,
right.
What? But
is that like some weird like survivor's mechanism thing?
It's like a prisoner's dilemma. It's like Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. There we go. It's just like
Miami,
entire concept.
Cuban Republicans. Yeah. Wait, what did I say? No, I posted a meme and I was.
Speaking of which, this is the perfect segue, guys. The Queen died.
That's great. Yay. Good. Whatever.
Right?
Who cares?
The Queen died. This is a perfect segment into.
So I live in Australia, which is.
I know.
So it's been weird here. It's been weird here.
Ruled by that fucker.
Yeah, tell us what happened.
Yeah,
tell us what the vibe is.
The vibe was weird because like the following day after it was announced that she passed away, it was literally gloomy and raining, and like a bunch of people, I wouldn't even say just royalists were like this, but like other people who just kind of had an attachment to like the history of like having this lady around forever were like sad and everything that, and like I didn't grow up with her as a thing, so like I don't really have an attachment. The only thing that was weird to me was at some point.
You're not an Australian citizen, right? You're not an Australian citizen yet?
Not yet. I'm not a citizen yet. No, I'm a permanent.
Yeah, so then fuck him. You can say that. You can say fuck the Queen. I don't give a fuck. I have no attachment to that.
I'm not really about the monarchy.
Yeah, you haven't pledged allegiance to that bitch. Fuck her, bro. Like you can say that in Australia, and they'll be like, "Excuse me." You'd be like, "I'm not a citizen here," and they're like, "Oh, never mind." And you go on their way.
I don't answer to your. I do love
the things that did get to me.
Oops.
I like the things that
the
only thing that got to me. Sorry. I just wanted to just finish what I was saying earlier. That the only thing that was weird for me and what threw me off was at some point I was looking at Gami the next morning, and then it just occurred to me like, ew, he's gonna grow up with a King Charles. That's so weird. Like it's just I don't. A third, I think. Yeah, the third. He's never gonna know a queen.
Didn't he already fuck up?
To him?
Didn't he already fuck up? Like it was like there was a video of him on Twitter going viral of him, like it was like a comedy of errors where he was complaining that they didn't put the ink in the right place. Like he had to sign papers and then he didn't sign the right place and then he didn't date it correctly, and it was all this like literally just. All you have to do is sign your name and you're a fucking king, and he couldn't do that. Like it was that fucking. It was I don't know.
Like he's also. I will say this. People post jokes about his hands all the time, how bloated they are. He's very, very ill. He's not long for this world. So Camille may not grow up with a King Charles III either.
It just might be King William. You know what's going to be weird is that someday I'm going to be telling my grandkids about the fact that there was an entire generation of people around my age that lusted after King William. Like that had teen magazines.
So
yeah, Prince when he was Prince.
He's so ugly, dude.
When he was Prince.
His hairline, his teeth.
Harry.
He is.
It's because Harry's the unproblematic one. So
there's also Harry's problematic. He wore a fucking Nazi uniform to a party.
Yeah,
he's got his own issues.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep, he's got his own. He's got his own shit.
That was in the past. We gotta forget about that, Mike. You can't just hold on to things just because they happened 8 years ago. You got to move on.
But you can acknowledge they
except
happened.
except for buildings. We don't forget about that. But
Never
when
forget.
it comes to people, forget the people. Forget people. It's fine.
You want to know
It's
what my
all right.
favorite one of my favorite parts about this whole process is that since there hasn't been a coronation in so long, they have to do like all of these things that were written down and hasn't been done since like 1950, whatever, when she got coronated.
What are you talking about? We had one in 2000. We had one in 2015. Anna was coronated in 2015. It was like it just happened.
What?
I honestly didn't understand.
Anna.
Frozen.
Oh,
It was a Frozen reference.
I'm making a real reference to things. There is a
You have to
genuine.
wear gloves.
There was a setup to what I'm about to say that would have been funny.
I think that was Elsa.
The whole issue with what's happening right now is that they're bringing this person into the crowning him as king, and they have to do all of the traditions that were written that no one really looked at for 50 years or 60 years or however long the lady's been queen. So now it's like there's like a magic rock that has to get moved from one place to the other now, where they're like, this is the fucking king declared by a magic rock. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is this going to pull a sword from the stone?
Are we really surprised? Like, that Sword of the Stone came from some stuff. Like, the whole, the fact that they were blood chosen by God.
Yes, that there's like some holy
a lot of magic,
some divine bullshit. And then everyone who is like, yeah, we moved past all this already. All of this is nonsense. Like, why do you exist as a social? And it's because they don't want to get rid of their money. That's it. They're just another bunch of rich fucks who don't pay taxes. I'm leaning more French than English these days, we'll say.
Look, I think in general, I think most of Gen Z is leaning more French and very eat the rich. You know, like I honestly don't mind it sometimes. I'm just like, I get it.
Damn, I'm trying to find.
I don't know. I lean more towards Bitcoin than I do French. And I don't know anything about Bitcoin, so that will tell you where I'm leaning.
That's a hard place to be because you're just surrounded by alt-right Nazis funding their bullshit, or like just for sure drug.
Hey, legit though, right? Legit, Bitcoin died. Like I went for a year and a half of never fucking.
There's a lot of things that are sinking.
I heard about it. I heard about it for like a year and a half nonstop, and then in the last 3 months, it's just been like, yeah, nah. Like everybody's backing away from Bitcoin. Everybody, like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, did Bitcoin die? Like, is that a thing where people are like, just like, we're done?
Jason commented, why is Gen Z leaning more towards French? Revolution, baby. Sharpen those
because they're
guillotines.
the more into revolution, the more left leaning. Eat the rich is the whole thing.
Fuck you, Facebook. Fuck you, Facebook.
Yeah. So I'm not talking like, because I know Jason. So Jason, I'm not talking like give up French. I'm talking about revolutionary.
No. Yeah, French. The French Revolution, when they like beheaded the aristocracy and took the land back for the people and all of the means, you know, like it was a successful revolution of straight up murdering the people who were the like Les Mis. It's what Les Mis is about. Go watch Les Mis if you want a shortcut.
Although no, I guess if you watch Les Mis, that one Les Mis didn't end well. Like that particular one didn't end great.
What I'm getting at is that there was a spirit of like, we're poor. Why? And then people are like, hey, wait a minute. You know, like,
you guys have everything.
Wait a minute. Why am I where's the money go? Hold on a second. You know, like, and but like that, but with guillotines. Yeah, successful.
Go
Name
watch
the last French king. Yep, that's right. They won. They completely won and changed the entire government away from a monarchy. A revolution.
There was
successful.
Leonardo DiCaprio, and then his brother.
And his brother in the basement. And then there was then there was Targaryens, and then the Targaryens got dethroned by Baratheons, and then something.
Right.
Yeah. France is great. Don't talk shit about France.
And then you don't get it. And the lady in red. And then the lady in red. What?
That's right. What? Yeah. Yeah, that all counts. Yeah. How many?
It's still. Yeah. What?
Okay.
Name a French king? I don't know a French king.
No,
I
I'm
don't
saying
know,
like Louis the 14th and the 15th. They were all named Louis. There was fucking 16 of them. Who gives a shit?
I
They're
know.
uncreative asses naming fucking babies. Yeah, but there it was. Oh, what a mess.
I literally just had a friend like literally as we're all having this conversation before about Latin America and everything. That my friend literally just sent a picture of like her eating fritanga right now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
the cravings are bad.
There's also a food restriction going on in my home, and it is very shitty. Where my wife and I are both on diets. Chiquita and I are both on diets, and we're like changing the way we eat to like kind of figure out how to do this sort of thing. And the restrictions aren't as bad for me as they are for Chiquita. She's going a little more extreme. And I'm just like, I'm cooking dinner, and then I'm like, oh, can't have that. Okay. Oh, whoop, can't have that. Okay. Like, I'm like, what do I cook? What do I cook? What do I cook? Okay.
Yeah,
And
really,
then I'm like,
I
oh,
really
that
hate
means
restricted
I'll just
eating
cook it for
though.
me.
Yeah, my wife ordered dinner a couple weeks ago, and then I was like, "Hey, is there anything in there I can eat?" And she's like, "Yeah." I go, "Did you order anything for me?" Is what I said. "Did you order anything for me?" Her knowing that my intake is very different than the rest of the household.
Yes.
Like I'm on a very different. And she's like, "Yeah, I did." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And it was a big brown paper bag, and she took her hand and gave me napkins. And I'm like, "All right, thank you, appreciate this. I got these napkins, and I will use these napkins. Thank you,
Wow.
thank you."
That's pretty fucking funny. That you got to take
Yeah.
that hit and be like, damn, that was good. That was a funny.
I did. I grabbed them and I grabbed the napkins and I was like, "Thank you very much. I appreciate this. This is good."
Yes,
It's
and
just one of those
I'm
moments where it's one of those moments where you're like, this is why I love you.
What a nice what a nice exchange to show love by.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's very
of
reaffirming for Neri to be like, this is why we make sense. We make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I got you.
I did. I made nice. I still made something nice. But yeah, I still made something nice.
So you guys just doing? Are you guys just trying to like get into like a healthier place, or like what are you doing?
I hurt my back and I need to lose weight to ease the back pain. So
that was me. That was,
Yeah,
I literally
herniated
have
a
this as
disc.
part of my show. I literally have this as part of my show where I talk about. I went to the doctor during the pandemic because I gained 68 pounds during the pandemic, and the doctor was like, "You're in a critical situation now." And I said, "Really critical? Like you gotta say that?" And she said, "You pulled your back wiping your ass when you went to the bathroom."
Oh no!
And I was like, "How do you know that?" And I was like, "How do you know that?" And she was like, "Cause I follow you on Instagram." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, that's war. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That actually happened. That's a real story. That was my. There was 2 rock bottoms, and they both happened within the same, like within days of each other. And that was one of them where literally pulled my. And I'm not talking about like, oh, my back kind of hurts a little bit. I'm talking about like incapacitated. Holy shit, I can't fucking move, and I'm stuck here. Yeah, it was really really
Did
bad.
you have any?
And it was.
Did you have any pinched nerve or anything like that?
I don't think I did. Well, I don't know because I didn't go to the doctor.
Or like
or
it
anything.
shoots down
it was
to
like
your.
after the. No. But
After that,
like
you're
3
just like.
days, after like 3, so I moved very tenderly, and I was actually on the way in. I was in North Carolina, and I was actually on the way to the airport to go back home, and I was just like in this, like, oh my god, my back, and it's just like this the whole time, and for like 3 days, and then I got like icy hot patches and a massage and the whole thing, whatever, and it kind of like, but that was what I was. The story that I tell on stage, and it really happened. The story really happened, and the way I say it on stage is I said, if you ever wonder to yourself like how big am I? Should I lose weight? Do I need to lose weight, or do I have a problem? When you hurt your back wiping your ass, because at that point you have to make a decision. Like, do I continue hurting myself to continue wiping myself because it never happens on the last wipe? It's not like, oh, thank God it happened. Like it's always, you know
It's
what I
like
mean?
wipe 2.
Or do I stop hurting myself and then go on with the rest of the day with a crusty ass? Like you have to make that actual decision. There has to be a decision made.
I choose pain. I choose pain.
And so when you're at that point, that's one of those, and it literally was a rock bottom moment for me, and it happened within 2 or 3 days of another rock bottom moment for me, which is my kids were going with their grandparents, were hiking when I say hiking, it just mean walking out in the backyard, and it just had like little rolling hills. It was nothing crazy. It wasn't like San Francisco. It wasn't mountains, but it was just like rolling hills, and I
Mhm.
could not make the walk. I had to take a break within the walk, and I totally lied, and I was like, wow, what a beautiful view. But as
Oh
I'm doing this,
no.
I'm just buying myself time to breathe in. This is you guys go ahead, you guys go
Mhm.
ahead. And yeah, that was my breaking point, and I was like,
Yeah, I
okay,
have a.
so yeah, that
This
was
was when
it.
I first moved to New York. I had a whole thing of like my body betraying me, and then the way I did a similar thing where I was like, we've all been there where you're at the top of the subway stairs after climbing 2 flights of stairs for the subway, having to pretend like you're not dying, like you're not fighting for your
Right.
life right there, where you're like looking at your phone, like, which way is east? How do the compass
Yeah, yeah,
takes forever? Oh boy, trying not to huff and
yeah,
puff
yeah.
after 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah, Brisbane is literally like a massively hilly city, and like I may be walking to lunch sometimes with some staff, and they're all fine. We're all walking up these like steep ass hills to go to lunch, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm
Things are good.
fine.
I'm a
Everything's good.
healthy human
Things are
being.
good.
I
There's a
This glisten on me is it's a new foundation. It's a new primer. It's not it's not sweat.
there's a video that I posted on my Instagram in 2020 of me talking
Mhm.
about like the super Hispanic cleaners that they have at CVS Imas. And it was right in the beginning of the pandemic when we were like face masking. But I said like the whole point of the video was like I know about Fabuloso and Mistolin, but I didn't know about, and they had like 3 other brands that were super Hispanic-y that I had never heard of.
Mhm.
That was the point of the video. And in posting that video, I found myself editing because the amount of mouth breathing that I was doing, and
oh
it was just from walking from the car to CVS. It wasn't like Walmart, and it wasn't like it wasn't like I was running, but I was making this video like, hey, and in between words, the amount of mouth breathing, and I remember watching that video to post it, and I found myself editing out the mouth breathing, and I was like,
Oh
oh, that's
yeah,
an
it's
issue.
tough.
that's
That's an
rough.
Yeah.
issue.
That's
Like
rough, buddy.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh boy, yeah,
My
yeah,
I
yeah.
hurt my
Because I'm doing it myself. I'm doing it myself. It's not like somebody else is editing that for me. I'm literally
right.
choosing to have to edit out mouth breathing, and I'm like, oh boy, this is a situation. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do whatever the fuck you got to do. Eat. Stop eating. That's whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
got to do, man. Yeah.
Well, no, I've been doing all right. I'm just doing slow carb again. You remember how that shit worked for me. But the
Yeah.
idea of like having like when I did it by myself, it was just me. Now that I'm cooking for my wife, like I am a Cuban grandmother at heart, where I'm always like,
Mm.
comiste, quiero comer algo. Yeah, like I'm always like, like I'm always like trying to feed because that's how you show love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so
100%.
now it's like, how do I convince you? How do I show you that I love you? Like, and it's like with my
Yeah.
words, what kind of bullshit is that? With my actions, fuck this.
Communicating?
I can't
Ugh.
just cook stuff,
Tough.
or order your favorite thing that I don't know how to make. Like, but like I can feel it's like with slow carb, you feel yourself shrink before you feel yourself lose weight. So like it's good, but it's one of those things where like fucking cheat day is around the corner, and I'm like I need to start treating it. I need to start respecting the cheat day and like getting a good cheat in so that I feel like I earned it. You know what I mean? Like I can do the rest of the week good. Because also we're going, like I'm going to be on a plane again in a minute, and I'm going to be going down to Miami in October for a cruise for my brother's birthday. So it's like I don't want to be the guy who like doesn't realize how old his body is versus how young his mind is. Like, yeah, I can handle that crack, and then I end up on the fucking getting airlifted from the cruise all the way back to
Right.
a hospital because I fucked my back up even more. I would be like,
You're
yeah,
like,
of
I'm
course I can do
young.
this. I'm young. I'm a young 41. I'm a child practically. 40 is the new 28. Like some bullshit.
Yeah, it takes me a while
That's how I
sometimes to
feel.
realize. Yeah, it takes me a
That's how I
while to
feel.
realize my age sometimes.
But
Right?
do you feel what has been the oddest feeling you've had since this process of like losing weight and not eating any sugar
Oh,
for however the fuck long? And what has been the most
yeah.
unexpected result of this process for you? Like something you were like, oh shit, oh wow, okay.
There's been a few. One, I like literally when, so without exaggeration, this happened 3, 4 days ago. I get on the ship. Now I've been on this ship before. Every ship is different, and some ships they provide you the ship itself, the production team provide you with a case of water for the week. Like this is your case of water, right? Others don't. Others are like, well, you're doing 3 shows this week, and we'll give you 3 17-ounce bottles
Whoa.
when you go do those shows, right? Which is this ship. I
Mm.
know that because I was on this ship 2 weeks ago. I'm back now, so it's a long story. I'm gonna land the plane, I swear. I bring my own case of water with me on Sunday. I'm boarding
Land
the
the
ship. I bring my own
plane. It
case of
is
water.
September 14th. Too soon.
Okay. So this happened on September 11th on Sunday. So I'm getting I get on the ship, right? I get on the ship, and I'm carrying my carry-on and a case of water, and I have my duffel bag on me. And I get on. When you get on on this specific ship, we get on and we're on deck 4. My room is on deck 6, and there is a fucking massive crowd of people. Majority of them elderly in wheelchairs or like walkers or whatever, waiting for the elevators. The elevators are like just famously slow. And I, without hesitation, I had my duffel bag on my shoulder, picked up my carry-on, my little, and then I got the case of water in one hand and the carry-on in the other, and I walked up 2 flights of stairs, and I walked to my room before putting the case of water down, and then I go, the fuck, did I just carry that shit up all the way up? Like, I didn't even hesitate. I was like, oh, this is a lot of people. So I didn't even think. It wasn't even a thought process. I thought, same thing happened a few weeks ago where I was walking and I was again on the ship and they were playing basketball and they go, hey, do you want to play? And I go, yeah, I'll play. And I just started playing and I played for an hour for the first time in 20 years. And I was like, what the fuck? Did I just play basketball for an hour? Like, I'm not
You
even
feel like you're
breathing
getting
hard. I wasn't that.
superpowers.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody the other day, I went to Dick's Sporting Goods because my wife's aunt, my aunt who is from Venezuela, she was like complaining about her knee because she just picked up a new sport. She's complaining about her knee. She's an older lady. By older, I mean like 55. And I was like, well, yeah, get a knee brace. And she was like, what is that? So I took her to Dick's Sporting Goods to get a knee brace. And then she was like, how do you know about these things? And I go, why? I wear them. And then I thought, wait. I haven't worn them in like a year and a half. I haven't needed a knee brace. Like I haven't worn them, but I didn't even realize that until she's asked me, how do I know about knee braces? And I'm like, they're great. You just put them on. There's compression. It's a compression sleeve, and it does it work. And she goes, how do you know about this? And I'm like, oh, because I wore them. And she goes, you do? And I go, actually, I haven't worn them in like a year and a half. So that's another one of these. But I literally feel I'm 40. I just turned 41. My birthday was last week, and I feel like I'm the best I've ever been. Is this like I'm like,
Yeah,
which is
that's
sad
great.
because I could have been ruling the fucking world at 25.
Why do you think that is? Like when you're young and you were like, this is fine and this is good, whatever it is, and then like I had to wait. Like I've been this heavy for a little while already, and I had to wait, or I was heavier and for a while already, and it's like, why did I wait to do it until I already got hurt? Like, why did like? And it's like it's that thing. It's like that human thing of like you need the universe to like smack you in the face with something before you're like, all right, I'll do it. You know, like I get it.
Yeah.
You know,
This wasn't a conscious thought in my mind. Somebody posted, oh, I want to get to see my kids get married. Like somebody posted that in my thing. They're like, hey, can you give me some tips because I want to see my kids get married one day. And I did again not something that I thought about beforehand, but I said I wasn't gonna see my kids graduate. Like that's how I realize that now. I was not gonna see my kids graduate. My kid is a year old now. I was not gonna live for another 17 years. I was weighing 368 pounds at 5'11", I was not gonna make it another 17, 18 years. I wasn't gonna make it.
Mm.
But I didn't know. Again, this is not one of these conscious things where I'm like thinking about this, but I was just like, oh, okay.
I kind of wanted to just
I just think it takes. Yeah.
I kind of just want to do the Kevin
Yeah.
Hart thing when he goes to Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's like, I was 52, and he goes, damn.
Damn.
Like when you
Yeah.
said 3, whatever, I was gonna do that, but then I was like, is that a little
Three-
insensitive? Also, the timing is
No,
off because of the delay.
I
on
get that all
these-
the time.
Yeah.
I get that all the time. I get
Damn.
that at the shows. At shows,
sorry.
I
I'm
talk
sorry.
about my weight all the time. It's so funny. This is one of the things that really bothers me about when I started my weight loss is people coming up to me and be like, "Oh, you're losing weight," and I said, "Yeah," and they go, "But what are you gonna do about your comedy? Like, what are you gonna do?" And that was the most insulting shit. And people don't realize I would much rather be called a fat fuck or whatever you want to call me. I'd rather them tell me to go fuck my mother than insinuate that I'm gonna stop being funny because I lose weight. And like it's so
Yeah.
fucking insulting to me. And I got it so often from people who meant well. Oh, but you can't lose too much weight because then you're not gonna be funny. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, are you
Like
like,
last,
do you think that's like? Do you think that's where my
like
funny
last
comes
I
from? You think
checked,
that's where my humor?
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Last I
fuck out of
checked,
my
the
face.
Well,
like
for some
humor
people,
doesn't
that's it.
exactly
That's
come
what they
from
got.
extra pounds.
I'm sure they've seen like
Yeah.
that's the thing is that public perception also is like Will Sasso has talked about it a lot. The guy from Mad TV that when he lost weight, that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody not people did straight up did not like him. Like they were like, fuck this
Yeah.
guy. And then other people like when you see like anybody who's in the public space that like Rebel Wilson when she was like
Yeah.
when she lost all that
Yeah.
weight, people were like, why did you do that? You were she's like, for me. And they're like, no, you were like, because it's either you do it for yourself and all this stuff, or you represent an entire group of people who are
Yeah.
your size, and then now you change your size and it's a betrayal. You know, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, like what an insult. You're saying that I need to lose weight, and it's like, I didn't say anything about you. Who are you? It's like,
Yeah,
I
like,
don't
I
know
did
who
this
you
for
are.
me.
Do you need to lose weight?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
But
why
also,
would you?
yeah, you probably do. You probably
If
do.
you-
Like that's
you
not
know.
that's a thing. It's
There
such
are
a
some
weird,
people who are
it's such a
perfectly
weird thing.
healthy.
It's such a weird thing because but there's not though. Like there's such a weird thing when people are like, "Oh, you're fat shaming." Like I'll go on my like I'm losing weight or I'm going my gym workouts or whatever the fuck that Jason is so bored of seeing, and then people will assume that I'm fat shaming or people may take it that way, and I've never
No, being
done that.
proud,
I've
being
never
proud of your
attempted
own,
that.
being proud of your own progress isn't fat shaming. Like fat shaming is telling other people like you shouldn't be like that.
Yeah,
Like, you
I
shouldn't do
understand,
this. You
but
should do that.
Rebel
Or you're not
Wilson
worth something
and
because
like
you are.
and Will Sasso, but they got pigeonholed into this. No, you were fat, and we don't like you now that you're not fat because you're it's saying something about the group. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
it
were
sounds
a
like you don't
representative
like
for
you.
an entire.
You know,
Right, exactly. And I'm just like, no, like that was so. I was one of the more. I hated getting that question, and I still gotta get that question now. They're like, "Whoa, what are you gonna do? I mean, you gonna be? How, are you still gonna be funny? Like, what are you gonna do about your comedy? How about your show? How about your jokes? You're gonna lose all those fat
But
jokes?"
yeah, to me,
I was like,
I
what
understand
the
why that would be
fuck?
insulting because you're like, do you think I'm not funny enough to like come up with other jokes?
There's so many
like
there's
other
so
than
many levels of my anger when it comes to that because it's like one,
yeah.
do you think that like Samson, do you think my funny comes from my fat and if I lose my fat I lose my funny? Two, do you think I still want to be able to do those jokes? I'm a storyteller. You don't think I'll be able to find
But
ways
it's
of being able to like this
it's
was
people
my
never
kind
know
of
what
life.
this.
This was
Look,
what
as
I was
someone who
living.
look,
as
but
someone who
it's
is
kind of like sorry,
go.
like sorry the delay. But it's kind of like those comedians who feel like they can't improve their lives because their darkness is their humor. And like
Yeah.
they can't change things about themselves because then where's their funny gonna come from?
As
I have
someone
I have a
who
friend
as someone who
I have a
was
friend
also
who's a
very
comedian.
large, as someone who was also very large and lost a bunch of weight, like I lost 100 pounds at one point, right? I went from 3 something to like 215, 315 to 215 probably. I lost at least 100 pounds because I stopped weighing myself when I got up in those numbers, and I, people don't know how to talk to you about it. And the only person I remember who was like pretty chill, like they didn't. It wasn't like a judgment or anything. It was that someone who was like, "Hey, I have some clothes from my father-in-law who doesn't need them anymore, and so that you can like maybe you'll fit better into these clothes better because you're so much slimmer now." and it was not a comment on my body, it was a comment on my clothes, and I'm like, you're right, this is uncomfortable to wear these baggy ass clothes because I can't afford new clothes. And then they gave me like a bunch of like inherited clothes or whatever, and it was like a moment of like, that was great. I did not, because otherwise people were like, oh yeah, you look so much better now, and it's like, ouch, okay, right, I've known you for a long time, and you apparently thought I looked like shit the whole time, and then it's like,
Yeah.
But you did though. But you did. Like so I was having this conversation with Paul. No.
Who says that though? Mary, you can't say this shit.
But comparatively, so I was having this conversation with Paul. Paul Casanova.
I don't know.
good
It's
friend
a
of mine.
preference thing.
He's actually
That's a preference thing.
time out, let's keep it real honest. I still had my F slur eyelashes, so I was adorable either way.
Paul Casanova is a friend of mine. He's lost a lot of weight, and he called me without texting. He called me and he was like, "Oh, do you get mad because you're losing weight now too? Do you get mad?" And he started going through the questions, and I was like, "No," because people ask him questions that they don't ask me. So people are like, "Wow, do you feel better now? Are you like, are you breathing heavy? Are you breathing better now? Are you sleeping better now?" Like they're asking him those specific questions, which I guess I just haven't lost enough weight for them to ask me that.
But those are real questions of
health.
But that's like really trying to figure out how.
Of health.
Where I have,
he's
so I have a friend.
He was like annoyed. He was like, "Oh, these people are." He's like, "Of course I feel better."
We keep steamrolling Steph. We keep steamrolling Steph.
It's the delay.
It's the delay. Because Mary has one and you have one, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
And
she's British, so fuck her. Fuck it.
Fucking colony. Rise,
colonizer.
Like, no, I have a friend who she's lost a lot of weight and everything, and like the annoyance and the anger came more from external people all of a sudden giving her more value as a person when she lost weight.
Are we talking about Melly?
Yeah, Melly went through that. I know a few people who've gone through that. Melly's the one I'm thinking of right now because we had specifically this conversation where she was like, I'm still the person I was, and I should still be seen that like that way, and I should have still been seen that way at that time.
I have a counterpoint to that. You are not that person anymore because you are not dealing with the same struggles that you were dealing with that inherently change you. So you're not like you're giving
not necessarily, because like sometimes like the weight gain for some people is a symptom of another thing that's going on, and like that isn't actually
I'm talking about who you are to the world. Like I'm talking about who you are, big picture. Like, because realistically you're not who
big picture.
a panoramic picture. You have to then fit into the frame the idea that you're like, as somebody, here's the thing, it's infinitely different for men and women, but I will say that when I was losing weight and I got to my thinnest I think I ever was, people would say that I looked weak, which is code for like sick, or people would say I looked sick, which is like when they view men as weak, they no longer view you as attractive. So like for men, it's almost like this kind of odd, like man, like dad bod. Like people talk about dad bod all the time. What they just like a guy who worked out and also enjoys pizza. Like you still have to have the muscle underneath to have a dad bod.
Jason Momoa right now.
It's strength.
Jason Momoa right now.
Yeah.
Like like any actor who is not actively preparing for a scene where they have to take their shirt off has dad bod by TikTok standards. And it's one of those things where the second you're viewed as weak, you're viewed as not attractive. And that was a thing that when I got to my lowest weight, I was like, ooh, I feel people looking at me different in that context. But I can tell you that
it's exhausting, all the standards other people.
The thing is that you're not the same person. You are dealing with different things coming at you. But
what's wrong? Hold
but
on.
you're still the same person dealing with different things.
But what's wrong with saying you look better now that you've lost weight? What's wrong with saying that? Like, I don't understand. I'm still the same person. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I look better when I lose weight. Everybody does. Like, it's not like if you were obese.
But like,
if you were obese,
that's not true.
If you were obese and you lost weight and you're no longer obese, you look better because you're no longer obese. What's wrong with saying that?
Health is
because I don't
why is
think
that an
I
insult?
don't think it's a blanket statement. I don't think it's a blanket statement that fits everybody. Like not everybody actually does. I know that when I've like I know when I've lost a lot of weight, I've had a lot of comments.
But to you, like if I'm giving you a compliment, if I'm saying, hey, person X, you were obese and now you've lost X amount of weight, you look better now. You look good now. Why is that an insult to you? If I'm telling you, I think you look good.
But it doesn't matter.
It's not for me to dictate my opinion, but it's not for you to dictate.
But like
it's not for
in
me
reality,
to dictate my opinion.
don't take this the wrong way. Like don't take this the wrong way. But in reality, in someone's life, your opinion doesn't matter. Like in the sense of like whether you think someone else. Yeah, like so it's one of those things where like whether you think someone looks much better, it's one of those things where you're putting an opinion onto them that they maybe didn't ask for. And when you put an opinion on someone, you share something that they didn't ask for, that within itself is already an invasion. So it's kind of like one of those things where like, I didn't really ask you.
But I don't think that it's an invasion. It's unwanted and unwarranted. Sure, you could do with it what you will. Just like my opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I think you look good. I'm gonna tell you look good because that's my opinion. It's the same thing as if I say, hey, the Dolphins are #1. You didn't ask me for that. You could do with that opinion whatever the fuck you want to do with your opinion. With that opinion, it doesn't mean
at that point
that
is that
I'm
an opinion. Like that could actually be proved. Whether that could actually be proven.
I'll make it a better statement.
It's wrong.
Dolphins. I'll make it a better statement. I'll make it a better one. It's Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl this year. And then it's people are like, no, they're fucking not. And it's like, who? What? We're talking about cabbage. What are you talking about? Football?
Yeah,
You know, like
it doesn't make a difference. Like whatever your opinion is, if you say, I like the Miami Dolphins logo, again, just to say I like something, I think the Miami Dolphins logo looks better now than it did 2 years ago. It's an opinion that I'm putting out there, whether or not you share that opinion.
But I'm saying, like, isn't that kind of putting you in the position of like, oh, my opinion should matter to you?
No,
like you're kind of putting yourself in this position of like, oh, my opinion matters enough that I have to share it with you, regardless of whether you ask for it.
Just like
your opinion, people's opinions to me. When people come up to me after a show and they go, "You were funny," I say thank you. And when people come up to me after a show and they go, "Oh, I didn't like when you did that joke about, I thought that joke was mean," or blah blah blah, I go, "Okay, thank you." I take their opinion the same way I take the opinion of somebody who told me I was hilarious. I take it with a grain of salt. It means nothing to you.
Like not.
I will say nothing to me. I understand. Here's the thing. I understand, Steph, what you're saying, and it shouldn't do that. It should not matter.
Yeah.
But inherently in the real world, it's like, and I'm not even talking about myself. I'm making generalizations. This was like people like review these stereotypes and all that stuff. Someone who is attractive, whatever that means, will inherently have more opportunities in their life, higher pay, better, more promotions, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The same level of qualification, even overqualified, more qualified people who are obese or inherently viewed as lazy, because obese is viewed as lazy in this country and around the world. Like if you hear Europeans talk about how fat America and lazy, it's always fat and lazy, right? And so it's all tied together. So all of these public perceptions, as much as
I would love one person to be like, "Excuse me, sir, I am fat but not lazy," and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah. Please."
I worked really hard to
very hard working.
I worked my ass off for this belly, but the point being is the idea that so like as a man, if I start wearing dyeing my hair colors that I feel are fun, as not for any other reason than I like them. You know, I'm gonna dye my hair blue. Next week I'm gonna dye my hair pink. I'm gonna dye it purple like you. I'm gonna do whatever I want with my hair. I'm gonna start wearing I don't want to say dresses, but non-traditionally male outfits. Immediately you'll be you're presenting an image that people inherently, that's how humanity works. Our eyes will see you and make instant pattern recognitions and judgments. Everybody is constantly making a judgment about how to interact with you. The same way, if you see somebody who is bald and sickly and whatever, and sunken eyes and skin and all that stuff, and has a port sticking out of their chest, you immediately are going to recognize, you're like, okay, this person is dealing with cancer and chemo, and I'm not going to approach them and be like, "Hey, I like the shine." You know, like you're not going to you're unless you know them already, your first assumption is going to be, "Let me take a little more care with the sick person," whatever. If you see a fat, obese person, you're going to start making judgments about their life, you know, immediately, and it's not something that you'd really have control over. It's drilled in societally. And, you know, like if you see, like when I started losing weight, one of the big things I was like, when I did the slow carb, I lost a bunch of weight when I was working in like the ER, and there was a lot of women there and all that stuff, and girls that did not give me the time of day. And it's like now scientifically proven that if you're an unattractive man, like an unattractive woman to a man is viewed as annoying, but we see them. An ugly man to a woman is not even there. They can't even see us. Like if we were unattractive. So it's like the second I started slimming
I don't know
down,
if that part's. I think like to
that's
me,
a
I'm just
study
like
I heard.
so many. I mean, so many people are in danger. I'm so aware of people.
But what
like,
I'm saying is, I think of it's a study that I'm repeating. I can't speak for the validity to it, but it's like something I heard,
yeah.
and the idea I can't tell you what study it was, but I heard it, and then the idea that I slowly became visible to these women who had not given me the time of day or flat out rejected me, suddenly, like everything changed the second you become more conventionally form-fittingly attractive. And it sucks because it's like no one wants to be in that position, and inherently it's
Sure,
so much harder for women.
What I'm saying, all of that is fine. But what I'm saying is that telling somebody that my opinion of them is that I think they look better now that they're not obese, should not put that importance on that person. It shouldn't be like, well, now your opinion. It's just my opinion. It's the equivalent of it's the equivalent of it's the equivalent of talking about your hair or who gives a shit. I don't care. I don't care.
Because
I have a fucking dumb.
It is a lot to people. It's not like
but
it's not just a simple little thing.
Why am I still talking about those people that called my eyelashes an F slur? Like, because it's like a weird thing in your brain. It doesn't
because you're gay, bro. No, I'm kidding.
See, you know me. You can make jokes like that. And
it's just a joke.
I would think it would be funny. But the idea that like those little things, those are the microaggressions, is what they're called. Is they stick in your brain, like when I still get it as a tall person when I'm going onto a plane. And I'm sure you've felt this before. As soon as you walk into the plane and people see that you're sitting next to him, there's that vibe of like, like, fuck, this big motherfucker's gonna be sitting next to me, and it's like,
well,
hey,
I did it until you said it.
I just assumed I smelled. Would it be better if I smelled?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm one of those like early boarders, so I get it, man. But I'm the same way. I'm one of those people that even at my biggest, when I would sit down first because I'm an early boarder, I was like, please God, every time I see another fat person, I'm like, we can't have two of us in the same fucking row. Come on, man, we can't do this shit. Please don't. Oh, you motherfucker! Why do you pick the middle seat? Who does this?
Fat guy shotgun. Fat guy shotgun.
There was one time I was in the front. I was in the row, and then this lady was like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I told her my name, and she was like, "Okay." And then she was like writing people's names down, and I was like, "What's happening?" She's like, "Oh, we might have room for an upgrade or whatever." And then I said, "Well, if you're gonna move anybody to this row, can you please not move a fat person to this row? There's only one fat person per row." And then like the entire plane started laughing, and then this fucking lady turned around and looked at me, and then started laughing. She was like, I need to see who this
motherfucker better be fat. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, he can't. Oh, okay. There it is. I don't
like
think
it's like, oh, okay, he's punching up. He's not punching down. Got it.
Yeah,
well, he's kind of punching horizontal. Right. It's like
a
horizontal.
Yeah,
just
punching.
Self punch.
Yeah. I don't think it's wrong to tell somebody that your opinion of them is that they look good. I don't think that's wrong. Now, to put an extra emphasis on it, as if like my opinion,
but better than blah blah blah. Like
it's also like I thought
better than when you were morbidly obese.
I just don't think that sometimes all of our opinions need to be shared. Like, yeah,
but the comparison is unnecessary.
Yeah.
So I'll say this:
all of it is unnecessary. Here's the thing, Mike. All of it is unnecessary. Your opinion of anybody is unnecessary. Whether or not it's appreciated. Whether
A
it's
compliment, I
appreciated
don't
or
think is
not, that's a different
unnecessary.
story.
A compliment
It
is
is
not
unnecessary.
unnecessary.
No, you're confusing unnecessary and unappreciated. A compliment can very much be appreciated, but it's still not necessary. I don't fucking you're one of my best friends. I don't need you to compliment me. Now, when you do, it's nice and I appreciate it, but I don't need it. I don't fucking go, man, you know what? Fucking Mike. It's been 6 months since he complimented me. I don't fucking need it. I don't need it. It's
I don't think it's
appreciated.
different. No, what I'm saying is that the comparison makes it a backhanded compliment. If you just if you just go up to somebody and you be like, hey, you look great. And then but like choosing to compliment someone's body is already like not a thing you do without like to an acquaintance. You do that to someone with who you have confianza, you know, like you like, hey, you look good, you know, I'd like, you know, you're looking strong, you're looking good. Or like when you go up to a woman,
Está fuerte.
Está fuerte, mira este tipo, está fuerte, coño. The idea that you're not flaco yet. You're not flaco, pero mira este tipo, está fuerte.
Flaco's a whole other area.
Fuerte. It's like fuerte in for Cubans is dad bod. Fuerte is dad bod, where like this guy's strong.
That's true.
But
he's strong.
like,
No, he's not fat. He's not fat. He's strong. That's strong.
You know, like that's what they say. Like if you ever want to give a compliment a choice that someone made on their style, not on their body.
That's what I do. That's what I usually do, to be honest.
Yeah, like you have, like because a compliment socially it's gonna endear you to the conversation.
It's a public announcement to anybody who's ever gonna listen. If you ever want to compliment me and tell me that I used to look like shit, but I look great now, have at it, bro. Fucking let me know. Just don't tell me that I'm no longer gonna be funny. Just don't tell me that I'm no longer gonna be funny. Fuck you and your mother. Yeah, fuck you and your mother. Don't tell me, don't ask me and question my fucking humor and my professionalism as a comedian based upon my fucking weight. Go suck a dick. But if you want to tell me that I look better now than I did before, have at it. I don't need it, but I'm not gonna get mad at you either.
Clarification from me: don't fucking comment on my weight, good or bad. For me, it's one of those things where like, if I look great, I look great. Maybe just like full stop it. Like, don't add the compare to when because like it's one of these where my weight goes up and down and stuff like that. I'm a woman. I've had a child, and I just like to feel like, you know what, I look great at whatever I am at right now. Like I feel great right now.
I do what I do.
My body
do what I do with Steph. I just compliment her ass, and you can never go wrong. You compliment her ass. You say your ass looks great, and she loves that.
I would compliment the overalls. I'm digging the overalls, and I want to start wearing
that's a
overalls.
good one.
I'm telling you, style.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course Mike is going to choose that now that I used up the good one. Of course he's got to go with the fucking overalls now.
The easiest one for me is just like my hair. That's an obvious one.
You really, but I will say this: you do make it a focal point. You chose to direct the eyes up to your hair. Why do you think you do that?
Of course.
Now we're getting into therapy.
Why I wouldn't.
Why
if I was a man courting you, I would absolutely not talk about your hair first. I would leave the hair for like
my hair is up
9.
here, friend.
Yeah.
Like it frames my face.
I would compliment so many other things. If I was a man courting you, I would definitely not, because everybody talks about your hair because it's fucking there. It's like that's the whole point. So
but
I
she
would
chose
make it
to do that.
Yeah.
We can dive into the reasons
my
later when I
favorite,
charge my
Dave, one of the first
fee.
things Dave ever complimented me for was my eyebrows, specifically. Like
I would have
like my actually he like my eyes.
You got nice eyelashes. Nice eyelashes.
I paid for them.
What?
You're gonna get a lot of girls.
Yes. I have the false lashes.
Oh, they're fake. Okay, but I know somebody who did the tattooed
they're
makeup.
just pretty good.
I know that. Yeah, you're like, if someone compliments you on that and you bought it, you have to legally tell them you bought it, right? Like, hey, nice tits. 100%. They're like, I paid good money for them, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, nice eyes. And like, they're fake contacts that I put in every morning. You know, like, tell me, be proud of your purchase if you're being fake.
Oh, I 100% always do that shit.
Yeah.
Whenever someone compliments me on something, I'm like, I got him.
Real quick. We gotta do that. We gotta do the Am I the Asshole? Do you have the Am I the Asshole?
I do. I have it here. I was noticing the time. But the end of that conversation is compliments. Like, and also if someone has something wrong with them that they cannot fix in the next 10 minutes, don't tell them. Don't tell them. Like if it's something like, hey, your fly is down, be like, yeah, your fly is down, or you got a booger, or
something in my teeth.
Yeah, but if someone's like, hey, your haircut's wrong.
What about
You know,
what about
like-
hey, your breath is horrible. Stop. Your breath is horrible. Stop talking to me in words that begin with H. Thanks.
Or in
that's
Spanish
stick a gum.
for
That's
our
stick-
Latin
stick-
American friends, a J. The
J.
you just offer them a mint. You're like, hey, can I get you a mint?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I'm gonna run to the store. I'll be right back. Like, I'll go buy it for you.
He's like, I'll go buy one. He's like, oh,
Just like
thanks. Are you
Carrie's
gonna
little
take
travel
one? Nope.
toothbrushes.
Nope. Just for you.
Yeah.
This is just. I don't need one. Just for you.
I thought you might like it specifically.
Just like
Yeah.
throw it from. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my sister that she overreacted when screamed at me for entering hers and her husband's room? So that's what we're getting. Full picture. She overreacted, or that she overreacted when screaming at me for entering her and her husband's room. So I, a 23 female, I'm a full-time college student. Right now I'm living with my sister Claire, in quotes, not a real name, I guess, and her husband Thomas, in quotes. While I get through my current semester, I don't work. Oh, I'm living with them while I get through my current semester. I don't work, so I don't have everything I need for my daily skin/hair care routine. So I borrow stuff from Claire. Claire didn't have an issue at the beginning.
Wait, real quick. The eye roll in Stephanie's face when she said, "I don't have the money for my face creams." The eye roll that Stephanie gave is fucking chef's kiss.
Then you don't use
she's like,
face and hair cream. Right.
Get your shit. Get your own shit.
Fucking expensive.
Sorry.
It is fucking expensive.
So Claire didn't have an issue in the beginning. Didn't expect you to be doing it forever. I'm assuming. But then started complaining about me randomly walking into her room. Not just taking her stuff, but randomly. Oh, I got to stop giving running commentary. Walked into her room. Randomly walking into her room. But I go in there looking for the stuff I asked for. She gave me a hard time just because I walked in on Thomas half naked to get the eyeshadow I borrowed from her. And then that other time when I walked in late at night, she told me I needed to get her permission to enter the room before I take anything. But I figured this would make things complicated. Yeah. But I figured this would make things complicated. It's enough that I have to ask to borrow an item. So last night, now the eye roll is, hold it. So last night around 10 p.m., I went upstairs and into her bedroom to grab the hairdryer. I walked in and whoops, I saw them in an intimate position together in bed. I had, all caps, no idea they were doing it, especially since Claire told me that Thomas has been feeling sick the past 2 days. Who gives a shit? It's their room. They can fucking do whatever they want. She lashed out at me, yelling that I get out. And I quickly grabbed the hairdryer. She still got it. Had grabbed the hairdryer and then walked out and shut the door. Minutes later, she came downstairs in her robe and went off on me, saying that she was done with me repeatedly disrespecting her and violating her and her husband's privacy. Yeah. I told her it was cool, no big deal, and that I needed the dryer. I didn't have time to ask permission. She got even louder, saying that I had no business barging into her marital space and embarrassing her and her husband like that. I told her that I was sorry, but she's really overreacting to this whole thing. This made her more pissed. She went on about how I'm living here rent-free, yet not being respectable enough. I stopped arguing and went to my room. This morning, Thomas left the house early, and Claire ignored me.
You mean you
breakfast.
went to her other room?
You went to another room in this woman's house.
Yeah, you went to your sister's other room.
Yeah. Still upset, saying like she's not your mom. This isn't your parents. They're not doing the reason. You're also 23. Grow the fuck up. Still upset, saying I don't get to say whether she overreacted or not, and that my behavior was inappropriate. She even wants me to apologize to her for making last night awkward. And thoughts.
How could she possibly think she's not the asshole? Like, you're living here rent free.
Nah, man, people don't like that though.
If you're in the end of college, your ass should be smart enough to learn how to knock.
Like, this is the thing about there is a she's absolutely the asshole, but boundaries have not been established. And that, to me, I think, like, none of like that should have never gone past a certain point of time. Like, hey, and like you address these things at the beginning, but everyone's afraid to look like an asshole setting a boundary, right? Like,
Mhm.
hey, this is going to be for a couple months until you can find a place of your own. In the meantime, you need to show respect, ask permission. None of this stuff in this house is yours. I'm allowing you to use it at my convenience. If that doesn't work for you, maybe you can find something sooner, you know?
Yeah, but like even if you didn't have that whole sit down conversation at some point, even when she first said, "Hey, like stop, just knock, like stop going in unannounced, like when you want to ask for something," simple, full stop. Like the adjustment can be made.
Also, the adjustment is made. I know this because I also have children who don't accept boundaries. You lock the fucking door. And guess what? You force a motherfucker to knock. I know this because my parents did it to me. We would do that. Everybody does it as kids, right? You just walk in there and you have to be taught, knock. And then
No,
when
I
you're
was
fucking
definitely
told and you
taught to
keep doing
knock.
it, yeah, I was told to knock. And then when I repeatedly would walk in, my parents would lock the door. Now, did that mean that they were always having sex when the door was locked? I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. I hope my parents were getting sex that much. But it still taught me on the other side, no matter what was happening on in the bedroom, it still taught me to knock. Oh,
Yep, that's
I
just
forgot to knock. But there you
yeah.
go. Thank you.
My
So
dad,
no,
Tony
how about just
Merkel.
lock the fucking door?
If
Happy
the door is
anniversary,
closed,
Tony.
knock. Yeah, happy anniversary, Dad, and Dad and Yolanda, friends of the show, stars of the show, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the whole point of
Yeah, no, Yolanda would have
boundary,
put it in a whole lot less
Sure.
polite way.
the idea that by and look by boundaries, physical boundary, the door and the lock is a physical boundary, but also like
Mhm.
that that look another way you can um Kevin from Home Alone this shit, and Yolanda says we used Vaseline on the doorknob. Can't get in if you can't get a grip. That's
Yeah,
what
but look, my
I
parents
was
had a
thinking.
simple rule. Our door is always going to be open. If it's open, come on in. If it's closed, don't.
Yeah,
Just knock.
if the door's closed, don't come in here.
Yeah.
Your parents had the corporate open door policy. Like, well, we have an open door. My door's always open, but when it's not, don't fucking come in here. We're
Yeah.
having a
Pretty
meeting.
much. Yeah,
The
pretty much.
the
And like I learned really young, fortunately never walking in on them, but one day when I walked into the room, went to their bed and realized that there was a light switch nearby the bed, turned on the light switch, and the whole entire bed all of a sudden had these hidden LED lights that like lit up around the bed.
Whoa, your
And all of a sudden
parents
I was
did
like,
cocaine together.
cool, cool,
That's
cool,
what
cool.
that
Never opening the
means.
door. Yeah, bye.
I've told the story on stage before, and it's kind of like a running gag on the show of the catching my like stepdad in his boxers in the kitchen,
Mhm.
and the whole vibe of the place that became a boundary for me because it's her house, right? Like I had to move back
Yeah.
home after a breakup, and it was like the saddest defeat. And then it was like
Yeah.
I just kind of like got home, whatever. I had a key, I opened the door, and I'm like, oh, that's right, another person lives here. And the gag was that I would start like honking the horn from like the end of the block to be like, hey guys, slamming the door hard real times, like jiggling the keys in the thing, like, haha, there is someone coming
I'm
in to the house.
home.
Haha, that is a gift I'm giving to you so you can go put some pants on. In the comments, it is almost unanimous. You're the asshole. Specifically, whatever. You're the asshole.
Did she reply to any of them? Did she reply? Did she like come back and say?
I don't see it. I think she like deleted her shit, or the thread was locked. Normally
Yolanda also has underbed lighting.
It's that man.
Cocaine.
Couples that have underbed lighting, you're fine. They're
Miami,
fine.
Yeah. When did my
Just
parents?
trust them.
When did they meet in Miami in the wind? Yeah, that sounds about right. You're the asshole. Yeah. No, that's not the commenter. That's the guy who wrote the comment. It says YTA, you the asshole. You are always the asshole if you walk into someone's room without knocking and getting permission to enter. Always.
Yep. What's up?
Dude, the fact that she walked in, caught them fucking, and still continued to get the blow dryer
Yes,
is
that to me is
mind-boggling.
very, like,
It's mind-boggling. She's still, immediately you walk in, you go, oh shit, I'm sorry, and you leave.
Your hands are busy,
You
your
don't
mouth
fucking
is
go,
full,
oh my
excuse me.
god, and then continue on your path, and then like that is just mind-boggling.
Like you
to me.
could have even done the thing where you literally run out the door, close the door, and from the outside of the door yell like, "If you have a moment, can you get it? Sorry." Like
Yeah,
It's also
exactly. If you have a
10
moment,
p.m.
I have a. Yeah.
It's also like at 10 p.m. that door's closed. Like even if I'm sleeping,
Yeah.
don't come in here. I don't care what you fucking need.
Yeah.
If it's not
I don't-
out there, it's not yours. Deal. Oh no, we lost him.
Oh, we lost him.
He got too
I
animated.
feel
I
like
Too, he moved
No,
too
sorry.
much, so his frames died.
No, I actually got a phone call, and that's what happened. I don't even like sending an email at 10 p.m. Can you imagine walking into somebody else's fucking, I don't know, we're not supposed to say master bedroom anymore. What are we supposed to say now?
Ensuite?
It's primary bedroom.
Primary bedroom, yeah. I can't even imagine walking into somebody's primary bedroom at fucking 10, opening the door at 10. Like, that's crazy talk to me. Crazy. I don't know, man. I've been taught old school, man. I've been trained old school. My parents did a really good job with me. I realize that now because I see a lot of people who don't have the manners that I have. That I'm like, you just walk into somebody else's bedroom. Like, this is your fourth time in this house, and you're just walking into somebody's bedroom. Like, nah, bro. Nah.
Someone commented literally just, you still grabbed the hairdryer. You the asshole.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Oh, this is so embarrassing. You're 23 years old, a grown ass woman living for free, and you can't even respect what your sister asks you. You, the asshole, and a leech. That's a leech.
Look, we couldn't erase how I was feeling. I was already rolling my eyes at just like the skincare.
Yolanda says we call it the captain's quarters. I'll never think of their nautical theme again.
How many times do you think your dad has had sex with a captain's hat on?
It's a non-zero number. It is a non-zero number. It is an impossibility that it hasn't happened at least once.
They call it the captain's quarters, Mike. I mean, it has to happen enough times.
Yeah, I'm not coming up with an estimate. I just know it's not zero. You're asking me to think too much. Now you're doing the F slur thing in my mind where you're making me the weirdo thinking about my dad having sex by asking that question. You're in the wrong. You in the wrong for this one. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I can't wait to do a show. Was he in Tennessee?
Yeah. We gotta go.
I'm gonna do a show in Kentucky. How far is Kentucky from Tennessee?
I mean, it's there. It depends on where in Kentucky, because if you're west
Louisville.
Fuck, I don't know.
Louisville.
Google Maps.
Yeah, I'm
to
really
where
bad
in
at
Tennessee?
geography.
To where in Tennessee?
Right. Yeah. I'm looking it up.
Where, Mike? She's asking you, Mike.
East Tennessee, Johnson City, Tennessee.
Johnson City.
She needs an address, Mike.
That's I'm not giving. I'm being vague enough as it is. Like I don't know who listens to this.
It's 5 hours and 23 minutes in a car ride.
Oh, that's a far.
Oh, that says 3 hours.
5 hours.
That says
3
it's
hours.
3.
Yeah, 5
because
hours.
My
not
dad
the way Tony
drives fast as. My dad drives on those cocaine speeds.
Yeah. 3 hours.
I don't really believe that they still do
F-slur.
cocaine. As a disclaimer, I feel like I make a lot of jokes about Miami in the 80s, and people are probably like, my dad is just like some like aged coke fiend, and married to my stepmom who's like a dirty mouthed aging coke fiend. They're just both cracked out.
Look,
don't ruin my image of them. I want to picture party animals.
Yeah. I just watched Narcos seasons. I'm on season 3 of Narcos. I watched all of the Cocaine Cowboys again, including the miniseries, the one with the Miami boat with the fucking people, the boat, speedboat. So all of this is within the last week or two. Like I'm literally reading Javier Peña and Steve, the guys who helped the DEA agents who helped capture Escobar. I'm literally
Mhm.
reading their book right now, so I'm all in the fucking 80s and 90s cocaine, baby. I'm all in my
Yeah.
head. I'm all like I'm like whenever you mention Miami in the 80s cocaine, I was like right now during the podcast, I was like, yeah, like I'm just like my mind is in the fucking that time frame right now. I'm all
Right.
about it right now.
It's
Dad,
so funny because
if you're there, if you're listening, what episode of Miami Vice were you on?
ooh,
That's a real thing that happened in the past in my dad's life, and he shows up on screen at some point,
I
and I've
love the
yet to
fact that
find
Tony
him.
has more. I've been doing comedy for 19 years, and Tony has more TV credits than I do. I love this.
he has an IMDb page somewhere.
It's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
He
And I'm
technically,
like,
oh no, he doesn't. I don't think. My grandfather
I
does.
technically
the
have one, but
directing.
without a picture, and I just have the one short that I was in, which was the John Wynn
You did
internet
Labor Days.
TV
Yeah.
show, Labor Days. That's it. That's all my IMDb has, and I didn't make it. I don't have a picture on there or nothing. So
Yeah. Yeah. The only people I have actually technically have an IMDb, and then my grandfather does. Unfortunately, background work in Miami Vice does not get you an IMDb thing. But my grandfather has one. Interesting. I gotta find it now. But I wanted to watch it because I wanted to find him on camera so we can get a look at the peak Tony Mercadal, like the on camera Cubanness that was amplified by Miami Vice.
Bro, I need
Tony
to
must have
find this
been.
photo of
I
my
mean,
dad.
Tony before this, he must have been. You must
I
have
was
been
walking-
slaying it, bro. Because
Dad- my
in the
dad-
80s in Miami, his fucking name is Tony Mercadal, so close to Tony Montana.
Tony
How you got
Montana?
you fucking? This guy must have been slaying
Yeah.
this shit.
He was military. He was also like, yeah. I was walking between two babies on the side. I'm assuming babes on the sidewalk in a Speedo.
I
He was in
really
a
hope it's babies and not
yeah,
babies.
Speedo. Hey, and
In the
that was
Speedo.
yeah. Back in the day, Speedo was like the closest man. Like if you the confidence to look good, to wear one and look good in it. And he had
Yeah.
at a certain point.
It's
he
so
had,
weird
like,
because
the
that
most
would that,
epic of
nowadays
mullets.
that would make you an F slur.
Yeah, it is ironic. Society shifts. The beauty standards change. You know, you never know. I know. Oh, come on, Dad. Come on, find it. I don't know the episode. I'm not going to watch all of Miami Vice to find you, Dad.
Or
how do I do a reverse
Yes, you
image
are.
search?
Why not?
God, I am going to
Yes.
do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. It's
Yeah.
available.
Or
on
don't.
Hulu.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Mhm.
Challenge accepted.
I would have find my dad in the.
You were the only, and you're the only one that can do it. You're the only one that can do it because I wouldn't know what your dad looks like 20, 30 years ago. I wouldn't fucking know. So
Yeah.
it's not like I could like watch it. He could be right. He could be
You're
right.
gonna
he
have to
could be
sit
right
there
next
and
to
like
me.
you're
I don't
gonna
know
have to
who this
play
guy is.
spot the speedo.
like
Yeah, God, now I'm gonna have to be looking at so many Speedos. Like, oh, come on, Dad, what weird scavenger hunt have you sent me on? What a weird quest. I must find the progeny's Speedo, you know? God, that's funny.
Oh man.
But an explosion happens or something.
Oh,
Yolanda, of course.
explosion?
Yolanda, of course. I loved his banana hammock. Of course. Why wouldn't you? You're now married to him. You love him. Shut up. I don't need it. I don't need the image. I'm gonna find it. I want to find it. I'm gonna have to like look for it. And
See, I'm
spread
trying
the
to
word.
like ask my family who has a particular photo of my dad from back in the day because it's like I know no one in my family has dealt with coke, right? But like there's a picture of my dad and my uncles that makes me question it. Because like they legit look like they're working with Pablo Escobar.
know.
Like it's just like the whole 70s look with the thick
I'm
mustaches
watching-
and like the
I'm
the
watching
certain
Narcos.
suits and shit.
I don't know.
Mhm.
They're
I'm watching
liars.
Narcos.
Every
the way
parent
they
is a-
paint a
is a
picture,
liar.
everybody in Colombia had to deal with that shit.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna
Colombia had to
say.
deal
Like
with that shit.
Like my family, that's the
parents
reason.
lie. Parents are perpetual liars who did not have social media to be caught out on their lies. They are all fucking liars. If they do not
Yeah,
have
don't really mind.
documentation to prove certain things, don't believe them. Don't believe your parents. They lied to you. They grew up in an era where they didn't have to prove shit. They could lie on resumes about getting a degree from Harvard or like some random college. You don't aim too high. You pick like and they're like, yeah, sure, you're hired. You're a senior manager. You make $100,000 a year now in 70s money. They're all liars.
I
You hear that, Dad? You hear that, Yolanda? They're liars. But please keep lying to me.
Actually,
I don't know if I can handle the truth.
Actually, the way Tony and Yolanda are here on the podcast, I think that they went the opposite, and they're just we're gonna bombard him with the truth so much that he's not gonna want to hear from us. He's not gonna ask us any more questions.
No, here's the thing.
Yolanda.
Here's the thing. They say vague ass shit like, I'm surprised that I
Yolanda,
survived
sending
my
the
20s.
listeners.
I'm like, why, Yolanda? How bad was it? You'll never tell us the whole truth. You'll never do it.
Or how good was it?
Yes, you're gonna say all these like things, and then to make it sound. I was walking next to the knee wall on South Beach behind Crockett and Tubbs. Damn, that's a good background gig too, because you know they're not cutting that shit. You know you're in.
FaceTime, baby. FaceTime.
Yeah. We got to get on there. But the idea of
all right, we got to get out of here.
Run its course.
Yep.
We got to get going.
I've reached my limit.
Really down.
What limit? Your back limit?
Yeah.
On your back.
Do
Yeah.
we all have back problems? Everyone on Earth is like backs made out of pebbles.
No, I don't have usually
Not me.
back problems. It's not my back problems. It's the fact that my insides are being shifted and moved around by a tiny person.
See, I want to joke.
I'm not trying to brag, but I have been able to wipe my ass pain-free for a year now. So
See, I thought you said I don't want to brag, but I've shifted some insides too. Like,
oh, that's good. We got to dismount on that. Bravo.
Yep.
Thank you guys for checking us out. Check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network that include, but are not limited to, the Pero Let Me Tell You podcast, Chow Like Our Best with Mike Valdez, the Kick Flicks with Mike, me, and Jeff.
Oh, I missed Mike.
And Kick Flicks, the martial arts movie podcast. We got Shiver, the horror movie podcast. And Geekmore's coming back. My schedule is fucking nuts, but Geekmore's coming back with a different panel. So be sure to watch that. Go to geekbro.net. Check out the other podcast. Check out WuBro on TikTok, WuBro Pod, and then you will be able to see. I'm giving these two fuckers who are better at TikTok on it access. So if they want to post or say something that's WuBro in, they could do it. Love you guys. Thank you very much for checking us out. That's how winning
Sharpen the guillotines.
is done. Jesus.
Do I gotta end it?